Did you stay up last night and watch the comeback?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I was up at the Nationals radio station here.
Right.
What an exciting win! Beyond,
Yeah.
um, couldn't believe it. It's one of those moments, and even as somebody who played in some pretty cool games in my own career, like you get swallowed up in it.
Right.
Not being a fan, but just watching oh my God, did that just happen?
Yeah.
But this team has been doing it. You guys have been watching. I mean, since the end of May, they're the best record in baseball, and they can mash. And I'm looking at the lineup. I mean, I can't think of too many guys left, right, with Soto and Rendon being better in baseball. I think they're right there at top. So tough lineup to manage and navigate through, and certainly a huge back-breaking loss for the Mets.
Yeah, I was telling the boys, I'm sure you're going to accuse me of recency bias, but I just don't remember a more resilient team. That doesn't mean they have the most walk-off home runs or anything like that, but this is a team that, especially, since the turnaround, that, even the night before when they're down 7-0 in the ninth inning, they still battle. They score 3 runs a night. They just never quit. If they get down 4 runs early, they match them with 4 runs in the second inning, that kind of thing. I don't know if that translates into postseason success, especially when you're probably relying on a one-game playoff, but it means something.
No doubt about it. And I think what you're describing is, a team that can mash. I mean, bottom line, this team, through and through can hit. So even when, you look at the way the game played out. I mean, Scherzer, DeGrom, certainly I was excited to watch a nip and tuck game. I guess for both of them, it wasn't,
Wasn't their best. Yeah.
Typical game, right? Max, I know, coming back with the back and, gives up a 4 spot, but he's nasty, as well as DeGrom. Mickey Callaway tried to get DeGrom, which I agreed with it, to get him another inning. He said 90 pitch. He was at about the 90 pitch. Didn't happen. The big home run from Soto. But even at that point, you're saying, as a Met fan, you're saying, okay, it's a little closer. Lugo comes in, finishes up the 8th, and then they bang out 5. And you absolutely are thinking, okay, all right, it's 10-4.
Yes.
Some dude will get at 3 outs before they score 6, and it just didn't happen. But it really is a relentless lineup, and I think it really says a lot for. And I'm a big thing on this, guys. And I know in the world of sabermetrics, it's they debunk it, but I've been watching from afar what Parra has meant.
Yeah.
And the team camaraderie, team chemistry thing, I know it's hard to define, and that's probably why the sabermetricians and the analytics don't think it exists. But if you've ever been in a clubhouse and you've played games every single day, from the start from February until hopefully October, you got to get close with these guys. And if there is kind of not a great feel in the room, it's hard to really pull. And, they're together. They're together. So to your point, I think they're why should they feel like they're down and out, especially mashing the way they do?
The only problem is, and I want to be upbeat and optimistic because I am a Nats fan, but, look, a lot of teams have bad bullpens or bullpens that are their weak link. When you come down to a one-game playoff or the playoffs in general, we all know it's going to be 2-1, 3-2, 1-0, right? It's not going to be 11-10, 12-10, right? 10-6.
Probably not. No.
You're going to have to rely on this bullpen in the 7th inning, and that's where I just kind of lose a little faith. When all the chips are down, are they going to be able to do it?
Listen, I think you make a good point, and especially in the day and age, where we are with bullpens. I mean, a few years back, I guess the three-headed monster in Kansas City, was able to go back-to-back and win it. With their 3 arms, and you see what the Yankees do basically, last few years hire, pay for 3 closers. Look, I don't know. It's not the easiest thing. I played for the Marlins, and the guy Dave Dombrowski who put together a World Championship team in '97, and Dave's supposed bugaboo all over the years is trying to put together a bullpen, and you think it's easy. You look at the arms. I can't think for the life of me, and I know it's a command issue. And even last night to watch, look at Edwin Diaz. He had 57-something saves. He was the best reliever in the American League, and has not found it this year. Throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastball on the outer third, little up, and Suzuki pulls him. Not a cheapie.
Right.
Earlier, the previous inning with Alonso, and I know Alonso's having a hell of a year, but Daniel Hudson, I get it. Command issue, spray some balls, doesn't have a feel for a breaking ball, but that ball was 98, probably slightly off the plate, and the dude goes left center. So I marvel at the hitters, but when I look at some of the arms, and I know that there's a lot of mix and match, and they got to figure it out. But when you have a stud rotation of Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin, and Sanchez, I think you have to lean on those guys, and there should be more, 8-inning starts. And if you can mash like this team does, and I say it out loud because back in the day when pitching wasn't as good as the hitting, we did have a guy by the name of Dwayne Ward, but it was about the 7-5 wins back then. And I think we'll see. But they got a nice, comfortable lead right now on the Cubs. And, it should be exciting down the stretch.
We've been debating it. If they started right now, if there was a one-game playoff today, who gets the start, Max or Strauss? I mean, Max typically, but he's still not quite there yet.
Well, what about Corbin? This pitch stat is great. I mean, I was looking at some numbers on him. Yeah. You guys know a lot better than I do because I'm not paying attention to it. No, I can't not. Listen, unless Max Scherzer isn't completely right and they're just trying to get him a couple starts lining up for the playoffs. I mean, with respect to maybe something cranky, which I have no idea, but I doubt it. He's got to get some touch feel before postseason. And I'm sure that you got to line him up. But I don't know. That's for you guys. I just, from afar, everything about Max Scherzer, you watch him, and as a guy who used to do this, I point and I say, yeah, that's the way you should do it. That's what it's supposed to look like. And do you give up some runs? Yeah. Is he fallible or human once in a while? Yeah.
But with a bulky bullpen, just one last question. In the playoff time, do you then just go ahead and say, okay, we start Max, but at first sign of trouble, we bring in Strauss? Or, do you do that? Or do you go with your guys that have gotten you to where you are? Because they did that a few years ago with Max, and it blew up in our face, and I thought it was the right move.
Me, honestly, I haven't been watching day-to-day of the Washington Nationals. It has now we're looking at a Max Scherzer. We're wondering what he's going to be in a couple weeks, right? So he's going to have a couple more starts. Let's say that it's just kind of hit or miss. Has Strauss been much superior than a possible hit or miss? Because if that is the case, and I don't think they're assuming that, then maybe there is a serious conversation. But for me,
of late.
Who do you bring in? Let's just say Max starts, and Max goes 6 1/3 or something, and then you're in a tight spot. Do you then bring in your next best pitcher, which is Strauss, or do you just stay with your bullpen guys that have been there all year?
So, great question, because it's not easy. And a lot of people are like, well, what's the big deal? You come in, if you start a game, you leave a game. Yeah. I don't know what kind of particular routine that
Strauss is very particular. Very particular.
So
he likes his routine.
I think I'll tell you what. But what the one that screams out for me is Patrick Corbin. And I think he's done a hell of a job. And do you bring him as the follow-up behind Max and see what that is like? I mean, right now, David Martinez has got to find two dudes that he can be comfortable enough to rely on, pitching, inning in an inning, assuming a starter, goes to 7.
Strasburg, I'm just kind of looking at the game log out. Strasburg had a horrible start against Arizona out there, and they got blasted 18-7. He gave up 9 runs there. But if you look at his last, let's call it 11, 12 starts, he's given up 3 runs or less. I mean, he's been, in the month of July, his ERA was 1.14, a little bit higher in August, but right now, I would agree. I got to see back-to-back starts from Max of like dominant lights-out stuff before I give him the ball in a huge one-gamer against the Cubs, against that lineup, I would think.
Yeah. So here, how about this? How about if it's good but it's not great? Does that lean you to having go with Steven Strasburg, who leads the NL and wins?
That's what we're wondering, because I think Max has been good, not great.
It's an interesting question.
You have to monitor Max the next few starts. Yeah, but that's the bottom line.
I'll throw this one on you. I got reams of stats, but how about this? Patrick Corbin, he's got a 3.19 on the year, but his ERA in his last 14 starts is a 2.32.
Dominant,
pretty safe.
And that would put him lower than the other two guys. So, listen, in team history, in the MLB history, to have 3 pitchers with 200+ strikeouts. You got Strauss, Corbin, and Scherzer this year.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't happen a whole lot. You get, last year, of course, I know a boatload of dudes get strikeout nowadays. So strikeouts to me are less impressive because guys just go yard ball and they don't care if they strike out. So if you look at it, in 18 last year, you had Carrasco, Kluber, Bauer, and Clevenger. Again in 18, Astros, Verlander, Cole, and Morton. But, you go back to 69 Astros, and you got to talk about the 67 Twins when you talk about three guys with 200 punch-outs. So it's dominating stuff. We know that.